My first question is, what would you do differently next year in Ents as opposed to what's happened this year?
So Connor would like to apologise, he's not able to speak today, so I'm going to be interpreting everything for him. We locate halls. The cricket pitch has always seemed like a great area to have a housing development, and we think the 40 minutes that Trinity Hall students have to spend coming in the morning is just wasted, so we're going to move it brick by brick from the top down onto the cricket pitch. We're also going to push for the replacement of Cunningham Hall and Trinity Halls with proper student accommodation as well.
Next year, Trinity will be the only uni to have a full-time Ents officer.
Yeah.
And I suppose the obvious question in light of that is Ents relevant? Why do we need it?
Yeah, that's a valid question, especially when these really hard times, so you have to kind of justify every sort of branch of the students' union, and I think Ents is really important. I think UCD at the moment they're looking at maybe bringing theirs back, because without Ents, firstly you leave students open to outside providers, promoters, with all they have is a profit out of ripping students off and providing subpar quality. But also, I think it has an important role, kind of sitting above things, not trying to micromanage societies, class groups, but just kind of trying to coordinate between different groups in college. And make things easier for classes, societies, sports clubs who want to have events. In recent times, people were saying it's a waste of money. I think there's no reason that Ents shouldn't be making money for the union. It's the only arm of the union that can actually make money. I think going forward it actually should be something they can give back to the union at the end of every year.
So you're saying that you're going to keep the tickets will never cost more than €5,
Right.
which is already very cheap, and I'm wondering where the money comes from the tickets to pay for the free buses to halls and the free tickets that you're going to give out to societies.
Well, the cost of running events is low enough to sell, if we sell 100 tickets to all students, there's still going to be people paying into the event, still paying in €5. The cost of a bus will be €3 a head max, and I've looked into that with bus companies.
Are you running as a joke campaign or is this a serious campaign?
100% serious, 100% severe. I am going to become incident if it is the last thing I do. And I am going to fix something that is ludicrously broken, in my opinion.
Okay, why is it broken?
I think it's broken because as much as Glenn Whelan has done everything he can in his power, he's busy playing midfield for Stoke and the Republic of Ireland. Like the notion of having two jobs as a professional footballer and also as the Ents officer is quite frankly just untenable.
We have been told that you're quite heavily involved with Midnight Productions, which is that quite controversial nightclub promotion group who attracted a lot of controversy for quite sexist ads for a night in Alchemy. And I was wondering how, if you were successful and became the Ents officer, how much Midnight Promotions would be involved in SU events.
Well, first of all, I haven't worked with Midnight since June of last summer. I haven't run anything with them, and they have no involvement in the campaign. And I've been in talks with other promoters more so than Midnight in making plans for next year. I know the reputation is bad here, so I wouldn't think to give them any role in
I was wondering, as the conflict in Syria enters its 24th month, how you see it playing out and how you'd use your position as TCD's Ents officer to bring about a peaceful resolution.
So Conor is very aware of the Syrian crisis in the SU shop this year. It's been raging for the last 24 months. The fact that Trinity students who are living on campus can't get access to proper Kellogg's cornflakes is an absolute disgrace. How he plans to solve it is just really put them back into the SU shop. It's very simple. It's a very straightforward procedure. We don't need the US to come in and give us their opinion, or Russia, or China, or Turkey. It's very simple. Put Kellogg's cornflakes back in the SU shop. It's stop the serial crisis.
How do you intend to make sure that it remains financially viable and also is a lot of fun?
Okay, yeah. Well, the idea for club nights is that I'm actually going to have two club nights.
Okay,
One will be a monthly club night where I'll bring over an international DJ once a month. But with regards to the weekly club night, we'll launch that in Freshers Week. The kind of emphasis there is on providing sort of just a fun, very cheap place where students can go out every week. Consistently know that they'll see students out there. And the way I was thinking then, because I take your point about how these things kind of lose momentum in the second semester, so we would look to change venue. We'd also look to, say, every 2 weeks, time with a different society, sports club or charity, not just to kind of rubber stamp the Ents brand on a different society or sports club, but to fundraise for them and also to bring variety to it, because Ents can't, I think that's one of the most important things any Ents officer has to realise, is that Ents by itself can't meet the diverse needs of the college. So you really have to work with societies, sports clubs and charities to bring about that variety in what Ents.
One of the big policies is the idea of making savage cuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
To other societies.
Yes, very true.
And sections of the SU. Why do you want to do that?
To be honest with you, in terms of welfare, who needs health when we're going to get mental in the first place? I just think it's quite redundant. And as far as I'm concerned, in this race, it's me or them. There can only be one. Ultimately, so I'm not only am I fighting within my own pool, I'm fighting against people swimming in other pools.
Okay.
So that's what I think.
We've been made aware of your possible involvement with the Trinity frat, and I was wondering, well, firstly, if you were a member. Secondly, if your campaign team was built around members of the fraternity, and then how you would deal with a situation where the fraternity asked to be recognised within Trinity, and as an obligation as being Ents officer, you'd have to oppose it. I was wondering how you'd marry those two things.
Well, I am a member of the frat, but if you looked at the campaign teams from all the candidates, there's people from the frat in each of them, and I'm certainly I'm not a side candidate.
But you can understand why membership of the fraternity would jar with the SU's policy of inclusion if you're a member of what is seen as, at least, to be quite an elitist society.
Of course, but it's not a recognised Trinity society. There's no involvement with the college as far as elitist. Like, Trinity College is, selective in its members. Any society is. But next year, I couldn't, even if I get the job, I can't give them any role in the college.
Right.
It's not,
but you would continue to be a member of the frat if you won the election.
I would, but it wouldn't have any effect on, wouldn't have any role in my job.
Okay. Some of the other policies in the manifesto include nerd alarms. I'm wondering what a nerd alarm is.
Nerd alarm, yeah. Well, it was something of a brainstorming session, but it's just those moments when when someone drops into the conversation who perhaps you don't want to be in that circle at that time. And I suppose our initial idea was for the nerd alarms to actually be the people in the conversation initially, just saying like nerd alarm, or something like that.
Right,
when the guy kind of walks in who's not meant to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously the biggest event of the partying calendar is the Trinity Ball.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, it's obviously run by, it was outsourced to a management company. I was wondering if you're happy with that arrangement, or if you'd look to regain some influence over the Trinity Ball.
I think one of the other candidates against race has said about he'll try and make sure the acts are better, or there'll be X, Y, Z amount of acts, but really the only thing you can do with MCD is try and keep them accountable throughout the booking process to make sure you just don't have acts that haven't been checked in with on a regular basis. Like I've a lot of experience booking acts, international and local, and you really have to manage the booking process from first contact with their agent to actually staging the show. Now, while Trinity Ents can't have a hands-on, kind of control of Trinity Ball because it is outsourced, you can check in with MCD and make sure that these acts are still on the lineup.
Sure.
You know what's happening. Make sure I mean, last year I think one of the acts actually had on the same night going back a couple of weeks was actually booked to play in Birmingham or something. So there was never any chance of him playing, and nobody had just checked that out. So.
You mentioned that your campaign funding. There's rumours coming out this week that you're supported by right-wing farmers' unions, and I was wondering, if you had a response to those allegations.
Farmers are the backbone of our society.
And you don't mind taking money from a union that's advocating legalising bestiality?
No.